Can you find a reliable daily driver for under $5,000? You see, I've always wondered this, so I decided to find out. This is a 2011 Toyota Camry, bought off Facebook Marketplace. High mileage, not a lot of issues, not a lot of red flags, at least not the kind you find on Facebook Marketplace. Goal is simple. Make this as reliable as possible for under $5,000, purchase price included. And at the end of this video, I'll show you exactly how much I've spent so far. But first, a little context. This is actually my second Camry. I've daily driven this 2009 for the last 3 years, and it's taken me to a lot of places. It's been my car for shoots, my workhorse, my freaking wagon, and it's been rock solid. It wasn't fancy, but it brought freedom, and when you're an immigrant with limited cash, a car can literally be the difference in the opportunities you have access to. So I'm really grateful for this car, and God has been really kind to me over the years with the cars I've been able to have. Toyotas are also incredibly popular among Nigerian immigrants and Nigerians in general, because if there's one thing Nigerians love, it's good value for our money. And Toyotas fit the bill because they're incredibly reliable and incredibly affordable to run, but they're not that much fun, and that's okay. At least compared to other brands. You see, in the last 7 years, my family has had 5 Toyotas. But enough about that. Let's actually get into it. What did $5,000 actually get me? A Barcelona red metallic 2011 Toyota Camry. Cool name for a red, Barcelona red. But 2 owners, 143,000 miles. Ugh. The 2.5 liter 2AR FE engine, one of Toyota's most reliable engines. A beige interior that has definitely seen some things. And the very random but clutch remote start feature that the last owner must have installed. And it totally drives like a dream. So here's a story of how I got the car. I took some notes because I wanted to get this right and not forget anything, but I got this car off Facebook Marketplace, and I'd known for a while that I wanted to buy a car, and I think the timing just lined up right for me to get this car. So I was on Facebook Marketplace for about a month, honestly, just looking at different cars and different vehicles. At the time, I knew specifically I wanted to get into another Toyota or maybe even a Honda, just something reliable. And I was really familiar with Toyotas because I already had the previous Camry. So I was like, it was going to be either a Matrix, a Corolla, or another Camry. And then I looked at Honda, so Honda Accords. I ended up test driving a Honda Accord that wasn't in the best shape. And another Camry, actually. I test drove a manual Toyota Camry, 2009, I believe. About 140,000 miles, manual, and it cost less than this one, actually. And I still wish I bought that car instead, but I ended up with this one that was just like 6 minutes away from my house. I went one time by myself, and then I went a second time with my dad to just get a second opinion, get some more eyes on it. And I didn't want to rush into it, and I'm also pretty knowledgeable about cars, but I think it never hurts to get a second opinion, especially from someone who's older and more experienced. Like my dad has had tons of cars over his lifetime, and he knows about cars, maybe not as technically as I do, but he knows about people. He knows about life way more than I do. So it was good to get his eyes on it and his opinion and just sort of have a guide with me through the process. And we went the second time. I test drove it, and I ended up getting it and committing to get it. So the first test drive was on a Thursday. The second test drive with my dad was on a Sunday. And by Monday, I had gotten the cash ready to buy the car, and I titled it, registered it by Wednesday or so. So in the span of like a week, it went pretty, not too quickly, but quickly enough. So that's how I got the car. Now, the buying process. I also wanted to put a bit of a component of helping anyone that's thinking about getting a car for themselves. What to think about when you're going to buy a used car on Facebook Marketplace or even a dealership. What to sort of keep in mind, and things that I thought about and I think is helpful for other people to think about. Preparation, like with most things, is key. As much preparation as you do, the better you position yourself to make a good decision and to get something really good. Because there are tons of people selling stuff, and there are tons of stuff they won't tell you. So the more prepared you are, the more prepared you are to handle some of these situations. First thing is sort of prepare your mind. A lot of people go into it and stuff happens and they get mad and they get frustrated and angry, and it gets a bad rap. And That's just life. Stuff always happens. So I think it's important to prepare your mind that there might be some hassle. There might be some unexpected situations, unexpected circumstances that will happen. But if your mind is prepared for it and you're like, okay, I'm walking into this situation with the mindset of like, some things might happen. When things happen, if and when they happen, it won't be as much of a surprise because your mind will be ready for it and you'll be able to think quicker on your feet because it's not a surprise. There will be some things you'll learn and you won't know about. The less of a surprise it is to you, the better you are at dealing with it. Secondly, never rush into a car purchase. I don't care how good of a deal it seems. I don't care how nice the car looks. You never want to rush into a car purchase. That's the quickest way to make just a bad decision. And you might get lucky and not make a bad decision. If you don't know the situation, you don't know the details, just don't rush into it. Be willing to walk away. Be willing to say no. Be willing to stand up for yourself because some dealerships, some people will try to squeeze you. Another thing, do your research into the models you want. Have an idea in your mind of what you're going for, what you're looking for your car. You're looking for sporty, or you're looking for reliable, or you're looking for simple. What size are you going for? So do some research into the model so that when you're actually going to look at a car, you know what you're looking for. You know the flaws ahead of time, the common problems. There's someone who's probably made a video about what are some common reliability things, or a post or a forum somewhere of just what are things to look out for in this car, some issues that might crop up. They give you a good idea of the questions to ask the seller when you get to the situation. So do your research, do as much of it as you can. Treat it like an investment, because this is an investment and you want to know as much as you can before you walk into any investment. So you want to look for common flaws, potential issues, and any open recalls by the manufacturer. So when you find a car online and you're going to check it out, and you've checked it out in person, even before you even test drive it, a good thing to do if you feel like this might be the one is to run the VIN through a service like Carfax, like a VIN checker. I use Carfax because I know it costs a bit of money, but it could potentially save you a lot more money. So it's worth it. It's worth the extra money. I ended up running the VIN on this car and finding out about some accidents, and it'll give you some leverage when you find some more information about the car before you jump into a purchase, because the sellers might not even know themselves sometimes. Sometimes they just won't tell you because they want to get a good price on the car they're trying to sell you. It can be a game changer and a lifesaver if you find a lemon. It'll also show if there are any open recalls on it, the service history as well. It'll show that as well, because another thing with used cars is a lot of people are scared of high mileage, and it has its concerns, but at the end of the day, you're not really just buying the miles, you're buying the previous owners. Like, a car can be really high mileage, but if it's been maintained pristinely over its lifetime, it'll last a lot more than a lot of other cars. But a car like a Toyota, that's supposed to be reliable, if it's been poorly taken care of over its life, then you're still buying a lemon anyway. You're buying the previous owners, not just the mile. And that's something to keep in mind for a car. And also, be sure to test drive it. I've mentioned this earlier. Be sure to test drive it. Test drive the car. Take it up to speed if you can. Get on the highway, see how it feels at high speeds, because sometimes they won't tell you stuff. And make sure they're right there with you, guiding you, so you don't go too crazy. And if anything goes wrong, you can be like, you saw me do that and you let me do that. This is on you, or whatever. But be sure to test drive the car to make sure that everything's good, because some cars at high speeds, if there's some suspension work that needs to be checked, like it might shake at high speeds, and they won't tell you that until you own the car. You won't find that out. So be sure to test drive it, like duh, obviously. Now, when you go look at a car, also try to go with someone who's knowledgeable about cars. If you aren't, it's always nice to go with a friend. Just have a little bit of backup. You never know the situation you're walking into. It always helps to have someone with you. Try to, just don't try to go alone. Like, you can, if you're a pro, do it, whatever. But I always try to go with someone that is knowledgeable about cars. And if you can afford it, if you can find a mechanic that does pre-purchase inspections, PPIs, do that. Get a mechanic to go with you to do a PPI, because there's stuff they will find that will help you negotiate a better price on the car. That's their job. They know that stuff. I'm not a mechanic. I know a bit about cars, so I can still like find my way. A mechanic who it's his or her job to know about cars will be able to help you with a good PPI, pre-purchase inspection. Finally, big thing that I think is important to remember: when you're buying a used car, when you're budgeting and planning for this thing, do not, I repeat, do not blow your whole budget on the car. I like to apportion like an additional $1,000 or $2,000 in my budget for whatever might go wrong with the car. Because it's a used car, there's maintenance that needs to happen. And I'm gonna go into the breakdown of how much I spent on this car so far. But you wanna apportion like an additional $1,000 or $2,000 just in case something goes wrong right after. Maybe it's something small, maybe it's something big. If you can't go back to return the car, you'll be able to fix it, because it's just helpful to keep in mind. And if nothing goes wrong, if you're lucky and you get into a really good deal and nothing goes wrong, you have an extra $1,000 or $2,000 just chilling, and that's still a W anyway. So when you're budgeting for it, always budget a little bit of a cushion for yourself, so you're not just squeezed if anything goes wrong. Because it could be just brakes going out, it could be the battery because the car has been sitting for a long time. That actually happened with this car. The car had been sitting for a while, and the battery was okay at first, but I didn't realize it had discharged so badly, so I had to get a new battery on it. The Camry has been pretty good. I'm actually filming this almost a month into ownership of the car, and it's been tremendous. Like, it's not perfect. There's dings and issues with it and stuff that I've had to fix and figure out, but it's been a wonderful investment. And it really proved to me, budget-wise, that, like, if you do some really good research and some good work into it, you can get a really affordable, good daily driver. And it's just a month. Fingers crossed nothing else goes wrong. I intend to road trip it and see if it'll survive like a really long road trip. And I think it will, because it's been fine. I've driven really hard the last month. It's not perfect, but the drivetrain, the engine, those are really, really solid. With a Camry, with most cars, like, if those are good, everything else is usually secondary or auxiliary. And you can fix that stuff. You can rebuild that stuff. If the engine or the transmission goes, like, those are really important components that can ruin your car experience. Now, the actual financial breakdown. The financial breakdown of how much I actually spent on this car. Actually, I got my notebook here because I want to get it right. So, the purchase price of the car cost me $4,000. Exactly $4,000. It was listed for like $4,350 or $45, I think, somewhere around there, or $4,250. But I was able to negotiate it down to $4,000. They actually bought the car from like an auction for $3,600. At least that's what the dealer said. He showed me like a receipt and everything. So the dealer made like $400 on it, which, like, that's not my problem. But I think overall $4,000 for that car was a really good deal. It was not a great deal. I could have gotten better, but I was okay with $4,000 for that. And I had budgeted an extra $1,000 because our budget was $5,000. So the extra $1,000 got spent on fixing up some of the stuff that I found wrong with it. Like, a lot of this is just like additional things to do. So I spent $4,000 on the car, $380 on the tax and the title. So at the dealership, I paid the tax to the dealer. So $380 on that. To register the car at the DMV cost $106. And then I also took it for a full check, because I like, for peace of mind, to figure out if there's anything wrong with the car. So I took it to like a mechanic shop, and I had them do an oil change and service, and also just do a full diagnostic check on the car to see if there was anything that I may have missed that they didn't tell me about that was not in the VIN. Because I like to be very thorough. I have relatively high standards for cars that I drive. So that cost $174.25. And then I got a car wash for $13, $13.90. And then after I did all that, I found out every single thing wrong with it. I ended up buying a ton of parts. That cost me $302.87. And that rounded up for a total of, I think, $4,977.52. So right under $5,000. And that was like first week. Now, battery stuff happened after, and that was like $170. So a little over if you add that in. And obviously I'm not counting the labor it took to do the work on the car. So you have to account for that on your own, or that's where an extra $1,000 would be helpful. But I ended up doing the work by myself, so guy math accounts for nothing. But yeah, we're right under budget at $4,977, which is a W, honestly. And it really proved, I think, that you can get a car for $4,900 or under $5,000. The next goal is I want to do this again and see, like, if I can get a more sporty car, a more fun car, and not just like a reliable daily driver for maybe less than $5,000, even maybe $2,000, and see what's wrong and fix it up. So, can you get a reliable daily driver for under $5,000? Yes, you absolutely can. But in my case, just under. In the next episode, we'll be fixing everything that is wrong with this car. So, stay tuned, please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Remember, stay grateful. Fancy butt. Dang, I forgot it.
Good.
Can you find a reliable... Oof, sorry.